Here we are, day 34 on the 10th of November. Finally made it home. I've been away for the best part of 4 weeks. Great harbour cruise, went down to Sydney, caught up with family, had work conferences, all sorts of stuff, and really got going on this journey of becoming a life coach and seeing how this all turns out. I've just got back from Nelson's Bay with the golf trip, which was an interesting sort of step along the way, as it was 3 days, so didn't really do any video logging. Did try to start one on Saturday morning. It's now Monday, so Saturday morning got interrupted, felt a bit out of place, still feeling uncomfortable people walking in while I'm doing these videos. I don't know if it's embarrassment or concern of what people think, but I will still post that that video up, just to compare back to. I think it was about a minute and a half long. But moving to the standard procedure that I'm following is the daily affirmation, which hasn't changed. Is today I'll do everything in my power to reduce my weight to below 109 kilos by the 25th of December 2014. I'll complete my exercise, eat healthily and focus to ensure my back is as strong as it can be. I am thinner and my back is stronger. My goals for today are to make a few phone calls to Nash, Heels and Fish. I've got to make more of an effort to contact people, especially friends. I'm going to work on Havana and Open Colleges training stuff. We're going to go to the shops and buy some clothes, as I broke my thongs, and I want to get through 2 hours of reading. Now we've also got day 26 being smoke free. Really impressed that I got through the 3-day golf trip without having a cigarette. Didn't need one at all. A couple of smokers there sort of questioned whether I could do it, but I was adamant that I wasn't going to need a cigarette. As for medium and long-term goals, we're down to day 83. I'll have 3 coaching books completed and 1 paying speaking gig by the 1st of February. The 6-month goal is down to 173 days, which is to have a business cruise or a holiday booked. That's the 1st of May 2015. The yearly one is 358 days to go, so that'll be having a successful business and earning over 100,000 per annum for myself. And the 3-year goal is down to 1,088 days, just having the unit completely paid off. So reflecting over the last few days, which was really interesting. As I said, I went away on a golf trip, so I do relate golf to a lot of things in life. I've lost a lot of interest in golf, and I did really start to find that playing golf, I was starting to put a lot more pressure on myself again, my expectations of me hitting the better shots, and I started to lose that bit of enjoyment. And when I forgot about worrying about where it was going and what I was going to do, I really started to enjoy myself more. I did set goals at the beginning of the trip on the Friday morning, I think, which was the last video, and that was to reduce the amount of drinking. Being a golf trip with a bunch of blokes, there was a lot of drinking involved. To play less bogeys, which in actual fact over both nights didn't even touch them. In relation to the drinking, this is an interesting one, and you can look back on things in hindsight and sort of judge or guess or make out what you want to make. And when I talked about conservative drinking, what's actually happened there is I found myself drinking faster and more during the golf game. On the first night I was in bed by 9 o'clock, drank probably too much, but I could focus on the fact that I drank too much during the day, or I could focus on the fact that I wasn't out till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning drinking, therefore ruining the following day being too hungover like a few of the other guys. So I think my subconscious there may have taken over, encouraged me to drink more during the day, therefore putting me to bed earlier, making myself... I was up at 6 o'clock the following morning, went down to the shops, I was the first one up, bought the fruit, had a healthy breakfast, went for a swim, ready and raring to go, and got stuck into it again on the Saturday night. Same story, didn't drink anywhere as much during the day, but went out for a good meal, had a few more drinks and went to bed by 11 o'clock, so no more with the 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning evenings, just absolutely riding myself off. I did have an 8-hour drive back from Nelson's Bay back to Queensland yesterday, so that was something else that may have played on the fact that I needed to get an early night's sleep. Along those lines, there's also the golfers and focusing on just remaining positive and just enjoying the shots that I was hitting. And I think I was talking about using a positive affirmation before each shot or before some of the shots. I didn't consciously do that. I didn't go through any sort of talking my way through or visualizing positive affirmations with the shots, but I have a funny feeling that my subconscious was doing that. I was really happy with the way I was playing. I think because I reduced the amount of pressure I put on myself, I just went out there to have a good hit and really enjoy myself. I will say this, on Friday I played with one of the guys, and I won't mention his name, and after reading all the material and going through all the stuff about negativity and positivity, geez, it really stood out how negative this guy is. He was always seemed to be the victim. It was always the water's fault, or the tree's fault, or the golf ball's fault, or the golf club's fault, or someone else spoke in his swing, or something. It got to the point where I've almost got to the point where I don't really want to play with him again, because that negative energy was just draining the whole team. Three other guys were just sitting there listening to this negative banter all day. I did my utmost and best to try and keep it upbeat and positive and try and reframe the way he was saying things, but I think he's become a victim throughout his life, and he's just continuing to do this over and over again. And I'm enjoying the fact that I'm identifying this in myself and in others, and can see the benefit of focusing more on the positive side of stuff. And on the reverse side of that, I played with a guy on Saturday. We actually ended up winning out of the 4 groups, but I played with a guy that I played with last year. It's actually his 3rd year in a row that he'd won it. By no means is he a fantastic golfer, but what he is, he's a fantastically positive guy. And you could see how that positivity oozes through the rest of his group. And that, I think, is one of the main reasons why he's won 3 years in a row, is because he just enjoys himself. And that's fed into me last year, and even more so this year, really focusing on the positive and enjoying the day. Because I see these guys once every 12 months, so why not enjoy it? I arrange the Punters Club, which is basically I get everyone to chuck in X amount of dollars every month, so by the time the golf trip comes around next year, we don't have anything to pay. So this year was the first year we did it. Everyone really loved it. There was a lot of positive feedback. They've actually asked to increase the money that we put in each month, so we've definitely got the trip covered. And where I was a bit apprehensive that they might see it as gambling and they don't want to do it, the sole reason was to focus on having the money paid up at the end of the year, so we're not dipping in our pockets at the end of the year and forking out hundreds of dollars to pay for the trip. So really good outcome there, and I'm really happy that everyone's enjoying that, and it gives me the opportunity to keep in touch with them, which is something that I really love doing, being up here, 10 hours drive away from all these guys. I don't see them that often, but apart from that, had to go through with the Anthony Robbins book, still loving the pain versus pleasure sort of focus. That really is helping with the smoke-free area, focusing on the fact that there's more pleasure in not smoking and there's more pain from smoking. It really changes that mindset and makes it a lot easier to not even think about it. So it's now got us working through beliefs. Now this is something I'm finding a bit of a challenge for. It's really getting me to think, and I know I've got limiting beliefs about friends, about salespeople, about age, about drivers on the road. After doing an 8-hour drive back to reality, it sort of really hits home how much I complain about other drivers and their incompetency and their inability to appreciate that there are other people using the road. Interesting story. Another story of how I relate life to golf. I was talking to a family member last week, and he mentions how he loves going down and playing golf with his mate. And they get out there, older gentlemen, and they're sick and tired of all the people behind them complaining about how slow they are, and he was saying he just likes going out there and having good fun and a bit of a laugh and a sing, and they just take their time playing golf. Now that has been something that really drives me insane, and it relates to me and as people on the road, people in life. They don't appreciate other people around them. So similar to a golf course, there's 150, 200 other people out on that course trying to play golf. and it becomes quite frustrating and to me quite rude that they've all got to sit there and wait while these other two just play at their own pace. I'm not saying they have to speed up and rush through their game. I'm just saying if they were considerate of what the other people are doing, they'd understand that. Same with on the roads. There's obviously so many complaints about people driving, and they sit there, they do the speed limit, but they don't realise that they're holding up 10, 20 traffic cars behind them. It's just about being considerate of others, and that to me is the most important thing. It's not about speeding, it's not about rushing through life. It's just about understanding and identifying others. But that was an interesting conversation, and something else I'll tack on to about golf and life and coaching and that sort of stuff. But that's pretty much the weekend. We're going to get stuck into this now. We're also looking at, Nick and I are focusing on our dieting, focusing on weight, focusing on routines, work patterns, life patterns, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to be trying to focus in on doing 5 or 6 meals a day, small meals. So the other reason for this video logging was to see if there is much notice between my weight and my goals and achieving them. Because for me, I think my biggest goal is discipline. So it starts with my weight, what I eat, what I drink, how I smoke, whether I can do these video logs, whether I can write my goals every day. So it's getting into a routine of doing those. So they're all underway, and as long as I keep mentioning them every day and I keep making those small changes, as Tony Robbins says, the kunai, it's constant improvement. So it's just small improvements. Kaizen, I think, is the Japanese word for it. It's just making minor adjustments each day, minor improvements, and improving on what you did yesterday. And before you know it, there'll be some massive improvements in your life just by these gradual step-by-step processes. But that's the goal. That's 12 minutes. I'll see you tomorrow.